ACL basically works by passing through a file on a record by record basis. And the more you can get done as you go through that process, so, killing many birds with one stone, let's say, the better off your processing efficiency will be in the actual script. So our goal here is to group commands together so that we can reduce processing time while passing through the table once. You can create multiple if statements if you'd like. We're going to show a few simple ones of the group command. Yet I find that just utilizing group and then various extract statements as an example. So what you could do is say group and then extract certain data to one file, other data to another file, other data to another file, maybe by year, would be an approach that you could split a file into multiple years very, very quickly by utilizing the group function. But again, just passing through the file once. You don't have to take this 5 million record file and go through it 10 different times. And then we need to be clear, though, that no matter how many times you use group, you always have to have an end statement at the end of the group. So let's take a look at some examples. Now taking a look in ACL, we have the group else if script that I built that really provides you a variety of different types of group commands that you can take a look at and utilize. So first off, I open up the paid file, set the date option to day, day, month, month, year, year, and then below that we have the defined field pay year, where we're utilizing the same approach as before in calculating the actual year field. Once I have that year field, I can complete a group command, and the group command always ends with a end command. So we have group, anything within the group, and then end. And this is a great way if you want to split data up. Let's say if you had 10 years worth of data and you wanted to extract the 10 years to 10 separate files, this would be one approach to doing that. You kind of have to know what years you have and then utilize that, but this would be an approach. And again, you can utilize this of saying extract record to data 1995 if pay year equals 95, and then the same for 96. I know that I don't have data in 94 and 97 in here, so that kind of works. Okay, so that allows us to do a group with an extraction. Looking a little bit further below, we're going to now do a group if, and essentially take a look here where we're opening up the paid file again. We're grouping if the person who entered it, their initials are JL. And then if they are, we do a count, we do a total check amount, we classify on the debit memo code, and this is all being done as one pass through the data as opposed to multiple passes through the data. Next one, we're going to do a group if else, and in this particular function we're using a little bit of a different approach here, but something that probably is more useful to you. We're basically saying group if the manual check indicator equals no. So it's not a manual check, and if it isn't, we're just going to count in total. Most data in a paid file is not manual checks, so that makes sense. But else, I want to extract the record to extract it. So if the manual check indicator does not equal n, I want to extract that record to the extracted. So that is that item here. And then I just do some cleanup down here by deleting that pay year field that I created up here. And with all that said, let's run this. And now let's take a look at the results. But before I run it, and this is a useful comment, I can create a new session. So add a new session. Notice log files get a little messy. So in the session name, we're going to call this the group test. And that creates that new session here, right here. And now that we have that, I can then run the group else if, and boy, that was fast. And it ran through a lot of things. So now let's just kind of go back up to, this was the group test that we had here. And let's take now a look at this log file. So we had the example of the group. We went through, we defined the field. We then extracted the record to a file called data 1995. extract record to data 1996 if pay year is 1996, and it completed each one of these commands. I mean, let's just kind of come over here, if we just double click on that, notice it's extracting 689 records if the data was 1996. It extracted 40 records that were in 1995, just, took the place through that. Then let's take a look here at the grouping if something's true, and this was group if enters initials equals JL. We did a count. We only had 558 out of the 729 records. We have 558 that had enter initial JL. We totaled it. We classified it, just to show, again, just these 558 records with the end function. And then we're going to do the group if and else. So we have group if manual check indicator equals n. We did a count, 728 out of 729. We totaled, but now else we're going to extract record, and we extracted one record to a file called extracted, and then we do our cleanup. So now looking at our results back in this overview file, or overview tab, we have data 1995, 40 records, data 1996, 689. We have the extracted, which is that manual extracted item. And we have lots of stuff happening in our log file that could easily be highlighted, as we do here, by just selecting that one item, and that, again, takes care of all of that. And then we could save that, let's say, to a log file or HTML or whatever you'd like, and be able to keep that as work papers of everything we did. But very quickly, ACL can run through a lot of these commands. So just going back into here, I would say in looking at where ACL works well with the group command and just based on past experience, I do find the extract command works quite well. The export command works quite well as well, because I find export data takes a lot of time sometimes when you're exporting to Excel. Let's say that you'll want to kind of group those commands together. Any sort of counting or totaling or stratifying, these just work really well because they're just kind of quick calculations being done. But to pass through your data over and over again just takes up a lot of time. So again, hopefully this is useful to you. I personally find that I utilize more of just the group end a lot more, that I'm getting into any sort of very complex if and else if, and you can really keep going with this if you want to, but I just find, again, just kind of the basics work quite well in the analysis that I'm doing.